minutes, I found out about the horrible plight of the Hawaiian leper colonies on the island of Wakakuki. So I took my Catholic vows and I went to the Grand Island of Wakakuki in the Hawaiian chain.
All right.
And I devoted my life to helping those who everyone else had passed over as the lepers.
All right.
This was my mission.
All right. And how did that work out for you?
I had died. But later I was made a saint by the Holy Catholic Church.
Which is nice, I guess.
So I got that going for me, but my arm fell off. So it's a trade.
There you go.
Life is all about balance.
Yeah.
Did your arm fall off before or after you died?
Yes.
A little from column A and a little from column B.
Okay, so one arm at a time.
Now, Ben, let me ask you, or excuse me, Father Damien, like, how do you decide on the voices that you're going to do for the episode? Do they just come to you like in some kind of like fever dream, or do you plan and plot these things out thoroughly?
Well, this was a combination of a couple things. I looked up at the Father Damien and I said, where is Father Damien from? And he was from the Belgium. And I don't know how to do the Flemish accent. And I thought back to my childhood. And I said, what great man with the funky accent and an accordion would make this work? And it was none other than Lawrence Welk.
All right. So this is so you're hearkening back to your Lawrence Welk days.
That's correct.
All right. Okay.
There needs to be some bubbles in the picture then.
Yeah.
Well, Myron Florin will be here in a little bit to lead us in a polka. Unfortunately, the lepers don't like that because most of their feet have fallen off and now.
In the polka. As long as you're having fun with it, Dr. Damien of the Lepers.
I guess they're probably not very good at the hokey pokey, right? Because they put their left foot in, but
and they just
back out.
It just
stays there.
It just stays there. Okay. I meant no offense to anyone of the Catholic faith or
and they got enough problems, I think. I don't think your gentle ribbing is
this is just the distraction they needed.
In that, well, one, I don't think they have internet. Two, they're not Patreons. And three, the big thing is there are only 6 left on that leper colony.
Oh, okay.
It's not leprosy. I mean, that was always the thing is we, dumped the biblical name on folks. It's an actual sickness. And, it's hard.
Are they down with the sickness?
Well, they are down. But I would be too. The other thing I need to get out of the way, I need to, as far as like sound checks, I'm not sure if you're picking up the fan in the background.
Not at all.
Nope.
Okay, because we are in day 4 with no air conditioning in my apartment.
I would move. I wouldn't have made it through day 1 of no air conditioning.
I'm literally on my 3rd T-shirt of the evening, and
just take it off, baby.
Just take it off.
Well, it will be happening. I mean, it's becoming a wet T-shirt contest, and I'm just producing the wetness myself.
Mm-hmm.
But
nice. So we're here. We're joined today by James Thomas, who just wanted to join in on the Highlander Fund. So James is here because
I'm back, baby.
Because this episode is called The Quickening. The Quickening. Deep Space Nine, Season 4, Episode 24, Episode 290-something, a Dork Trek?
Good God.
Oh, my God.
Let me check. Hang on here. We are
canceled yet.
Nope, not canceled yet. You guys are
the network keeps trying.
There's these letter writing campaigns.
Yeah.
294th episode of Dork Trek.
People keep sending jelly beans into the home office.
Yeah.
And that's a sign that they don't want us to be canceled.
Yes.
So I got a proposition, Bob.
Yes.
So we've got the Patreon thing going,
yes.
Right? And people donate money and stuff.
Yes.
And we're very appreciative of that donation.
Yes.
Because they are the awesome supporters that this show needs and deserves.
Yes.
We may not be the podcast you want, but we are the podcast you need.
Yes.
So could we do something to encourage Patreons and in honor of our 300th episode that's coming up?
To do what?
We'll say we'll do something, but we never commit.
So all right. So here, just
my feeling about it, Ben, is why the fuck do we have to do something? Shouldn't they do something for us?
Well,
that's right. We're great.
That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe like
That's what I'm thinking.
They can record some stuff about how we've changed their landscape of their boring daily lives. Maybe those lazy fuckers can do something for us. We've been doing this podcast for almost 8 years. These bums can get off their duff and help us out. Maybe make an episode of us, and all I got to do is put together a bunch of people saying nice things about how wonderful we are. That's anybody could do that. But I'm saying something the Patreons could do. I think they do enough. They give
us money.
Yeah,
exactly. But what about if there was a new Patreon? What if it was somebody who was not already a Patreon and they donated $300? That's $1 for each episode that we've recorded at that point. So in honor of the 300th episode, somebody out there, some generous listener, donates $300
a month.
And then what they get back for that? I don't know.
Love and appreciation from
Pretty
us.
much, around the world.
Nudes. Tasteful nudes.
We could take a screenshot of the four of us,
all of our genitals,
and then pass it around to each of us, and we could like autograph it, and they could get like an autographed cast picture.
What if that's kind of a fun idea? What if we did like, what if we all dipped our balls or private areas in some color paint and just like put them onto a piece of paper, like a stamp, if you will, a stamp of our genitals, and then mailed those around?
Do you want me to get a yeast infection?
No, but what I'm saying is, I mean, I'm sure there's some, I mean, I wouldn't really.
You can use your boobies.
Yeah, you could use your hooters.
Okay. So the problem with that, though,
like
is
Dennis, you're such a child.
If anybody has bought something from my table at the various conventions over the years, you've already bought one of those without knowing it.
Oh, okay. You put your penis in what pages? It's supposed to be America. Did you ink with your schlong?
Any of them that were adult only.
I don't know. I still like your web comic book. You're doing like Facebook jokes way back in whenever this came out.
Trendsetter.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. That's a Facebook gag right there that Ben did. Look at that.
Oh, that was the Save Christmas special.
Yeah, Ben, help save Christmas. Change your profile pic to your favorite Christmas picture and let Big Oil know you want to save Christmas. I think it's great. I
making fun of slacktivism even then.
Yeah. And this was a long time ago. Like this was
Remind me.
2011, Ben's making quality Facebook gags.
Wow.
Actually, that joke was probably 2010.
All right, Ben, I'm not your fucking biographer, man.
I'm just saying, the book came out in 2011, but the comics had already appeared online.
All right. Here I am trying to give you credit for being creative, and you're being.
I'm just saying I was even more creative.
Hey, let's bring back Damien. He seemed pretty cool.
So to interject, Bob, it's because I haven't said a damn thing in like 10 minutes. I will volunteer to be that new Patreon in exchange for everything you talked about if you will change $300 to 300 cents.
No, that's not worth it for me.
The price of the Catholic balls is a lot more than that.
Yeah, Ben's penis is magnificent. It deserves much.
It has been known around Father Mulcahy. He said it was what you would refer to as tiny but adorable.
The late great Father Mulcahy.
Played by Renee Auberjonois in the movie, who is the director of this episode called The Quickening. Again, not one mention of Highlander, which is just the
disappointing.
Which really, the episode, I watched it again today because it was months ago when I watched it previously. It really shouldn't have been called The Quickening. Like, that was a minor part of the show. I would have called it The Blight.
Well, isn't that the name of the disease they all get? They all get the
Yeah.
disease. It's called the disease is called the quickening.
The
quickening
disease
the
is the
final
blight. The quickening is it's like stage 4.
Okay, so that's when you die.
Yeah.
All right.
That's when you go see Space Kevorkian.
Yeah. This is I don't know, man. Again, there wasn't a place for Adrian Paul in this somewhere, is what I'm saying.
I'm sure he was begging for work somewhere at this point.
Well, what year was this? This came out in 1996. Highlander, the series.
Highlander was still in its heyday in '96. It didn't even go off till '98. I think season 4 of Highlander was '96, and that was the best season in my opinion.
Well, when we get to a certain number of Patreons, maybe we'll do a Highlander podcast.
After the
I would do that.
James,
After
let
the-
somebody else speak, for God's sake.
He was saving it all.
I know.
I'm here
was-
for one
was-
purpose, Bob.
Put him back in the cage.
Was there already another Highlander podcast? Because if there is, we'll have to take it out. Because as you know, with Highlander podcasts, there can be only one.
I was going to say, if there is not already a podcast called "There Can Be Only One Podcast," then somebody is really dropping the ball.
But if there's more than one episode of it, then they failed.
Yeah, so it's like,
yeah.
yeah, that's an interesting query there because you can only do one episode one time.
I mean, they somehow managed to make several movies and a TV series about this guy who was supposed to be the last immortal. So if they can do that, then they can come up with a podcast.
Two
Somehow
TV
people
shows
come
and
back?
a cartoon.
There was a cartoon?
There was a cartoon
Huh, I didn't know that.
about Quentin MacLeod.
About Clinton McLeod? Was he a black
Quentin.
dude? There's a black Clinton McLeod. What's up, y'all? I'm Clinton McLeod. Nice to meet y'all. Black Irish, that's me.
You're Scottish, Bob. You're Scottish.
I am this close to just kicking you off of this fucking podcast. Like you are, like you're treading on thin ice, my friend.
All right, I'll get back to what I was doing previous to this.
Yeah.
You might hear some typing.
So we are talking about The Quickening, the 96th episode. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. Who wants to discuss? Someone but James. Who wants to talk about what this episode is about?
What a gracious host.
I mean, I'm not the host. We're all the hosts.
Okay, so you're talking about how I predicted Facebook jokes back in the late 2010s. The thing that this episode predicted was pop-up ads.
Yeah.
You go to the replicator, you order your food, and
You installed spyware.
I
You
wish
basically just put a replicator virus in.
pretty sure Worf would call it malware.
Okay.
And I like how they show up. I mean, what is it? Quark, Odo, O'Brien, and Worf basically showed up for their check that week.
yes.
When, Captain Cisco at the end.
Yeah.
Like they had, and then Kira basically, was the same thing. It's like, what are you guys, is this like vacation week for you guys or
I think
something?
Kira got in some quality masturbation time in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Kira was essentially playing the mother of the 15-year-old kid that takes his girlfriend out on a date. Like, okay, I'm going to drive you to the mall. I'll sit in the parking lot and read.
Mm-hmm.
At 7:30, meet me at the food court, and then I'll take you and your little girlfriend home, okay? All right, cool. I'll see you later.
See, I thought I kept calling her Michael Collins to my daughter while we were watching this. And I was like, yep, she's the Michael Collins of this mission. Just
Great reference, Ben.
floating around. His mom, the teenage mom thing was way better because nobody cares about space anymore.
Nobody cares about space anymore.
It's a thing called NASA. It's the reason we have all these Star Treks. I'm sorry, what was that?
Star Treks. Star Treks, man. You know, the tracks of the stars.
It's where you run track in space.
I'd watch that show.
Maybe you heard of it. A little thing called Neil Armstrong walking on Mars for the first time back in the 1930s or whatever.
All right. First off, it was the moon, and second off, it was a soundstage, bro. All right, let's get your shit straight.
Oh.
Stanley Kubrick directed it.
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick directed it because I mean, like,
Now, if you watch The Shining, directed by Mr. Stanley Kubrick, you will see a pattern in the carpet that looks like the Saturn V rocket. And as little Danny is driving his tricycle, his big wheel, 3 wheels. How many people were supposed to be on the Mars mission? That was 3. Okay. Now them carpet stains and designs look like the Saturn V rocket. And as he's driving, it looks like they are being launched in space. This is one of the many telltale signs that Stanley Kubrick, who was dying inside from his guilty conscience, he had to reveal his secret some way, and he used The Shining to reveal that secret.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know what, man? I like, out of all the conspiracies I think that are out there, my favorite ones are the Kennedy assassination and the moon landing. Like, those are my 2 favorite ones.
I know Buzz Armstrong really loves the moon landing.
I know. He punched that one guy in the face.
Buzz Armstrong?
Yeah, Buzz Armstrong.
Yeah.
Little known fact: when they came back from the moon, there was only 2 people on the
Yeah.
because Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong had merged.
That's what happens when they went through the radiation belt. It made their bodies form together as one body.
I may have mentioned that
God.
it's extremely hot.
There was my favorite Buzz Aldrin moment is when he's on 30 Rock. And
Get out of my sky.
yeah, Liz Lemon is coming to see him for some reason, and he's yelling at the moon for being out during the day. We had an agreement.
Get out of my sky.
I got to go back and rewatch 30 Rock. It's just one of those things. I got to go. I got to watch it. I got to see it.
I just found out about the percentage likability thing on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Like you go through and it tells you, oh, based on your other viewing habits, you're X% likely to like this. And so I feel so bad, and I have to apologize to Jenny about this because it gave me a 99% for BoJack, and is the only 99%. Even Star Trek only makes it to 98%.
And you're still not watching it.
Oh no, I'm going to this weekend just because I give up. Even Netflix has conspired now.
You guys love that show. Like, I watched the first season and I thought it was pretty good, but I mean, like, I've heard it gets really deep and emotional.
It really does. Every season, there's at least one moment that it just feels like it was written for me in particular. It's really good.
I don't need self-analysis.
I don't need it. I just enjoy it.
I hate myself quite a bit already.
But that's why I like it, because I'm watching a cartoon horse who hates himself as much as I hate myself. So it's like, cool. You get it. You get it, man.
You get it, horse dude.
Yeah.
Can I survive this, though?
Yes.
I don't want to be in the bathroom at work, sucking off a 12-gauge shotgun, crying to myself that my mommy didn't love me enough. I mean...
Well, don't watch it at work. I mean, just do that at home.
Yes, exactly.
I can go ahead and warn you that there's going to be a moment that, as I watched it, I was like, maybe it's best that Ben doesn't watch this show.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, okay. I would like to watch it just to see if I can find that moment.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I've stuck...
You could all email in your results of what you think the answer will be.
That's what episode 300 will be.
Yeah.
I'll talk about the episode.
Our predictions on where Ben lost all faith in life.
And then episode 301 will be us mourning his untimely demise because he finished BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
Good show, though. Check it out. Yeah.
Hey, if I do something, I don't blame you guys.
If I do, you said do.
Because I love the Patreons, and they would never steer me wrong.
Do.
They would steer me to do, but that's because of my German ancestry. Wait, what?
Anyway, Quark has installed malware on the replicator.
We get a good close-up shot of the DS9 mugs that were introduced.
I really want one of those metal mugs.
Well, see, this wasn't the metal one though. This was another one of the
like the weird, with the
ceramic one.
Yeah, the ceramic one with the weird. I like the DS9 travel mug more, like the metal one with the sticker thing on it. Ben, your tea set is amazing, by the way. Do you have look?
I was going to actually
Ooh.
make Earl Grey tonight, but yeah, it is way too hot to have any kind of cooking or heating element.
Now, how many cups did you get with your tea set?
It comes with 4, so the next
Nice.
time you guys are in town, we can actually have a tea party and have Earl Grey.
Cute.
That sounds.
It's got the teapot, then cream and sugar.
Followed by a tea bag party.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we were going to do that anyway.
Yeah, but now we just have an excuse because we have the Picard stuff.
Now, if you're a member of the 700 Club, you get to, for the patrons who donate $700, you actually get to see the video from the last tea party we had.
It was just us watching $6 Million Man clips on YouTube.
Yeah.
after Jenny had tapped out because she just wanted to go.
Him fighting Bigfoot.
Yeah, him fighting Bigfoot and then thinking how awesome a Dwayne Rock Johnson Fall Guy reboot would be. That was
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
See, now I'm sad I missed it. Sounds
Dude,
amazing.
I'm telling you,
It's 2 a.m. I want to go to sleep.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson, the Fall Guy.
It would
Write
be
it.
great.
Write it. Do it right now. That would be the best shit in the whole wide world.
Would you
Ryan
accept a
Johnson.
movie instead of a TV show?
No,
Yeah, it have to be a movie.
No.
It would have to,
no, I want a TV show.
A series?
he ain't doing TV,
He's
man.
he's not coming back.
TV's where the money is.
Dwayne Johnson does TV. He's on Ballers.
Yeah, but that's
That's right.
That's an HBO show,
That's
though.
exactly. It's not
Show.
TV. It's HBO.
And that's like, I haven't seen Ballers, but isn't that
It's
much
good.
like it's like an Entourage for sports or something?
I never watched Entourage, so I'm not sure. I can tell you it's good.
It looks like it. I haven't watched Entourage or Ballers, but I think it looks like it.
Dennis has no frame of reference on any of this, but yeah, that's fine with him.
Yeah. It's marketed the same way.
It is kind of marketed the same way, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is a show for dudes.
Yeah.
I will say that Dwayne Johnson could reboot whatever he wanted, and I would watch it. I don't even care.
I can't remember the last Rock movie I've seen, but I know he enjoys rebooting television programs and video games. So it's like,
Jumanji.
why not do the Fall Guy?
Jumanji was good.
I heard Jumanji was great. I didn't see that one.
It's fantastic.
I was
loved it.
very surprised.
Better than the Robin Williams one?
No, but it was a great homage to it.
Okay. All right.
There was Honest Trailers did I want to say it was Jumanji prior to no, they did Rampage prior to Skyscraper coming out, and they made the joke that it's another Dwayne Johnson movie where he does the same thing that he does in all of his other movies. So now that's the kind of like the stint that my wife is on. I said, hey, we didn't go see Skyscraper. She said, well, it's just the same movie he always does, to which I said, hey, I love that movie.
Exactly.
Skyscraper was the one that was kind of like Die Hard, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like Die Hard and the Towering Inferno.
Disabled Die Hard.
Disabled Die Hard?
Yeah, he's
Or
got one
veteran
leg.
Die Hard. Don't forget to donate to DAV this summer when you go
Is he a
see.
war veteran in the movie?
Well, he lost his leg somehow, and that's the cool way to lose legs.
Wait a minute. So in the movie, he plays the guy with one leg?
Yes.
Huh.
Yep.
I missed that. How did I miss that in all the marketing?
There's
lost
like a
in
scene in the
Afghanistan.
trailer where his leg, his robot leg, saves his life.
He has a robot leg?
Lieutenant Dan, you got magic legs.
This movie has everything. I can't believe it didn't do better than it did in the theaters. But I guess all of his movies do well in China, so nobody cares, right? Like, right? Like that's kind of his thing. Like his movies don't do great here, but they do great overseas. So that's why keeps doing all these movies, right?
I didn't know, but I guess that makes sense.
Because he's like the biggest action star in the world, but just kind of okay. He's like Noel Gallagher. Like all over the world, people love Noel Gallagher, but here in the United States, they're just like, yeah, whatever, it's okay.
We need to find a way to have our podcast become popular in China.
Get the Chinese money, son.
Yeah, that's right.
That ching chong chang.
I'm big in France.
Step one, don't say ching chong chang.
That could have meant something in their language, man. I don't know.
Man, they love that stuff.
Hell yeah, man. They don't know nothing anyway.
That's right.
Do they even know it's Christmas?
Hell no, man. Ain't my fault they don't speak no English. Look, man, I love number 7 Happy Family. All right, man, get off my face.
They should know our podcast is tariff free. So
It is. We great. So yeah. Anyway, so the Quickening. I don't even remember how this all starts. I watched it.
They got a distress call.
They're going to the Gamma Quadrant for something, which they, in previous episodes, they made it seem like, oh, we can't go to the Gamma Quadrant unless we're in the Defiant because it's so dangerous over there. But now these three, bozos are just rolling around in a runabout.
I think they were going to go pick up a plot device.
Yeah, exactly.
The MacGuffin generators are out of order over on the Dork colony. But, and now they've introduced that there's, and I don't know if I've missed this previously, but they talk about Dominion space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is there's a designated, okay, this is the borders of Dominion space, where before it was like pretty much, the Dominion was like, stay on your side of the wormhole.
Yeah.
So it went from Norfolk as our territory to, well, okay, really just stay out again. That's our territory.
See, yeah, because that's the one thing that I find confusing about the Gamma Quadrant is like I just assumed it was all like patrolled and dominated by the Dominion. But like you said, it seems like they have like strongholds in certain areas and some of it is kind of...
I guess that makes sense because in the first couple, before they run into the Dominion or the Jem'Hadar or any of those people, they're able to move around freely without getting their shit fucked up.
But we start hearing about them pretty quick, where they're like, "Oh, you haven't heard of those guys."
But like the Tulaberry wine people are like they're trade partners with the Dominion. People have normal relationships with the Dominion, other than just being dominated by them sexually.
See, I don't understand that. What would the Dominion have any interest in Tulaberry wine when they're all like smack addicts?
I don't know.
Maybe
maybe just want to change things up.
The changelings just like to pour it all over themselves.
That's what the lake is made of.
They have these eyes wide shut parties.
Yeah.
That would be the weirdest eyes wide shut stuff.
Suck it off of them with straws.
And they make their own straws out of their own kind of beings.
Yeah.
They just look like anteaters.
Yeah.
Weird anteaters.
This is great. This Tulaberry wine is wonderful. Drink it off my hot body. Let me make myself into a cup for you so it's easier.
Oh my God. Ben, go look on the internet right now and see if there's any like changeling fan fiction.
Why do I have to do this? Why does my browser history have
Because I know that you know where it is.
You know where the bodies are buried.
Found There Vortis / fiction somewhere that involves Tulaberry wine.
If not, let's start writing one right now. Changelings turn their assholes into cups and they pour.
Come on, Wei-Yun.
Drink from my anus, Wei-Yun.
Wet your beak on this, baby.
Dip your weird ears in here.
Who's ready for a screen share? It only took that long. Oh my God.
Well, if it's in your bookmarks, it's a lot easier to find.
It's really not fair.
See, I knew.
It's right under the werebear porn.
I'm waiting for this like I'm waiting for my microwave pizza meal. Come on, let's go. What's taking so long?
I got to find a good
Mouth
one.
is watering. You're ready for it.
That's right. My mouth is ready.
Yeah,
No, I've accidentally found other. Ooh.
I can only imagine what that one was.
I know, I'm trying to see in your glasses reflection.
And he goes incognito.
Now's the time when we need a little bit of a privacy.
Ben's I heard your pants unzip though, so
He's
No,
not
it's-
wearing pants.
No,
Sure.
it's too hot for pants. No, there's actually not a lot. I mean, I've come across some Trill stuff, which I'm like, why is there Trill stuff? But maybe I'm just my search. I gotta refine my search terms. So you guys keep talking.
okay.
You're gonna keep looking.
Yeah.
Ben's gonna peruse the internet for Tulaberry wine porn.
Yeah, I spelled Tulaberry wrong, and
You ended up in a really odd place.
I was
You're gonna save that for later. I think is what he's saying.
Exactly.
I'm trying to find the.
I
Downloading.
got stuff to do.
Where is the damn? I can't find the thing I'm looking for.
Too much porn.
Yeah.
You gotta clean that mess up.
Too much.
Too much. Is that really a thing, though?
Too much porn.
I mean, how much do you need? How much do you need to save? You don't need. Go through and clean up your porn collection.
Yeah, come on, Ben. What happened? There's so much happening here on the screen.
I didn't see any Tullaberry there.
I didn't see. I just saw Kirk going like this.
Yeah, that's my reaction right now.
Come on, Ben. Stop being such a cock tease.
Yeah. I was all ready to jerk it.
I didn't know you had an it to jerk, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Universal term.
Exactly.
It is.
I always heard it. Mike and Bob called it stir the. Not Mike and
Who?
Bob. Was it Mike?
I was
and,
like,
no, not Mike and Bob. The ones in DC that I used
you're
to.
talking about me to me.
No, I'm talking to. I'm looking at.
Bob, you ever
Jenny.
listen to Mike and Bob?
Hey, Mike, Bob,
Never.
Mike
Didn't
and
Mike
Bob.
and Bob call it roughing up the suspect?
That was Alfredo Torres' turn for it.
What, Jenny? What was the show in DC I used to listen to?
Oh Jesus.
You listen to it too. It's the two guys that were not as funny as Mike and Bob.
I remember Elliot in the morning. They had them
Don.
on up there.
Don and Mike.
Don and Mike.
Oh, Don
okay.
and Mike. Yeah.
Those guys were awesome, and they called it stirring the soup when chicks did it.
Okay.
And because the lady on the sex hotline actually sued the company because she had carpal tunnel. And it was like she blamed the company for.
They actually made her masturbate while she was on the phone.
No, they didn't. That's why she lost the lawsuit, because they were like, "Hey, lady, that we didn't make you do that. You was doing that shit on
This
your
phone sex line has integrity.
Well, she wanted to give a more authentic experience to her customers.
I am a craftsman, sir.
Jesus, I just realized I'm not safe searching. God help
Are you ready for the sex, girls?
incognito. God damn it.
I'm stuck on the term stirring the soup. Like,
Yeah, I don't really get that. Like,
am I supposed to use a spoon?
your vagina's a bowl.
Your finger's the spoon. It's like
Thanks for that visual.
it's like poi, it's like poi poi.
That's the sound we used to make before. Are you ready for the sex, girl?
I mean, have you guys ever actually seen a woman masturbate?
Yeah.
No.
No. What's a woman?
That's what I thought.
You may have
Jenny, this is a
missed out.
Look, I've got the bookmarks for that. I'll send those along to you.
I am a Star Trek fan, and I do not appreciate that you have diminished the series by talking about these things.
Letter writing campaign. Here it goes.
I feel that I cannot be part of this as you diminish my integrity as a Star Trek fan, and this deviates from the original. And you're selling out to the social justice warriors.
Gene Roddenberry would never do that. That's not what they do in the 24th
No,
century.
Gene Roddenberry would, get some chick drunk, rape her at a party, and be like, "Hey, I scored last night."
I don't know if that's true or not. I'm going to take
I'm
it
saying
out.
he might.
I will say that I was reading the second half of the 50-year book, Ben, and I guess it was during I read the book. I read it right before I went to bed. I read this passage. I giggled hysterically, closed the book, and proceeded to lay in bed giggling hysterically for like the next 10 minutes when Gene Roddenberry was telling one of the young writers, I guess she wrote this script about joy or something. It's like something, the joy. And Gene Roddenberry was talking about his joy and how his joy was when streams and streams of cum came out of his.
Now, in the background, we have
And I closed the book and laid in bed and giggled for like 15 minutes. Like the thought of Gene Roddenberry telling someone that his definition of joy was when streams and streams of cum came out of his penis. I wish I knew what page it was on. I'd go find it and read it. You know what? I'm going to go look. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
no that book.
Have you read that part, Ben?
No, I've gotten in volume 2. I'm just now at Enterprise.
Oh.
And even though they overlap some,
You haven't gotten to the streams of jizz yet?
Oh no, the streams of jizz. Yeah, that was just after he was talking about the motion picture when he brought that back, and they were talking about his vision for the motion picture, And he was like, yeah, we got to show that people in the future are more open sexually. So in the background, we need to have people, scantily clad. And you remember the planet from Justice? He wanted TNG to be like that all over Earth. Or he wanted Earth, in the motion picture, he wanted that like all in the background. He's like, yeah, and if we could get some, maybe some lesbians in the background and some homosexuals and just have people having all kinds of, maybe a couple of threesomes going on, just to show that we're more open to this in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I like this vision.
Mm-hmm.
He was, oh my God. My favorite though, Bob, when you get to volume 2,
I'm on it now.
Okay, so when they're talking about Voyager, they're going to be, it's like, oh yeah, but see, we didn't really gel with the actress that was on for the first 4 seasons, and so we brought 7 of 9 in because we interviewed her and we did a screen test, and we just thought she brought something to the character. That people just, bad people are always saying that it was about looks and it was about the sex kitten aspect and TNA all the time, and it was nothing about that. And so you get like 4 or 5 writers. Oh, it was the integrity of the character. It was how she brought the drama to the show, and they go through all this, and then they get to the executive producer, and he goes, "We need more TNA on the show to get young viewers in," and that worked.
I was a big fan of her integrity.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is from Tracy Torme. Tracy Torme, and she submitted an outline for this. Is on page 84 of book 2.
Tracy Torme's a guy. It's Mel Torme's son.
Yeah, Mel Torme's son. And he submitted an outline for a story called Genius's Pain, which was about 5 pages long. And one day I'm sitting in my office and Roddenberry calls me in. He sounded lit, like he was not all there. He started with, "Hello, friend." And he went into this long rambling speech. I love the title of your outline, Genius is Pain, because let me tell you something. Genius is pain. You're absolutely right. But in fact, all of life is basically divided into 2 things, pleasure and pain. And then he started to list things that he found painful: the pain of dealing with network executives, the pain of going through a divorce, the pain of seeing your children's face when you tell them you don't love their mother anymore, the pain of spending 18 straight hours writing a perfect scene and someone says it has to be changed for some fucking stupid reason. So he just goes on and on. It was really one for the ages. And I was wondering when this was going to come to an end. So finally he comes up for air and says, "As for pleasure, my idea of pleasure is waves and waves and waves of cum exploding out of me."
Truly a visionary.
Great that he had countless ways to define pain, but just one for pleasure.
Waves and waves and waves of cum.
A veritable ocean of cum.
Exploding out of me. He goes on to say, "I was absolutely shocked." And he said it in sort of an Irish voice that I quickly covered the phone as hard as I could and stuck in my head out the window. And I started uncontrollably laughing. I couldn't believe what I had heard. And it was said to me by a leprechaun.
That's one of my favorite passages.
Yes, I giggled about that for 10 minutes laying in bed. And it made me realize that this podcast is more Star Trek than you could possibly ever imagine. When the creator of the show says his version of pleasure is waves and waves of cum exploding out of him.
Basically,
he was waiting. Before he died, he kept trying to submit these lines for O'Brien to say that. Waves and waves and waves.
I remember reading the passage you were talking about, Ben, and laughing too, because that's what he was saying. One of the orgy. He said he just wanted like an orgy going on in the background.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, get me some homosexuals and some lesbians.
Homosexuals and lesbians?
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
I feel like he would have been a big fan of Spartacus.
Of everything. He just loved sex.
I don't know if it was Majel that hurt him, or if it was the women who came before Majel, or if it was the women who, turned him down on those casting couches and made his ego feel like, little hand Trump or something. But toward the end, it was all, he tried to be this progressive and this, equal thing in the future. But then behind the scenes, he'd be like, goddamn broads is ruining everything. But now in the future, it's all equal. Everybody's the same. But goddamn,
I won't be such a dirtbag in the future. They
a
won't.
goddamn broad will rip your cock off in a heartbeat because them.
He's both a visionary and a realist.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it was scary.
So they find this planet, and on this planet is they're just a bunch of sick people. They have this
down with a sickness.
They have this crazy disease.
Yeah, because they get the distress call that they're under attack.
Yeah.
So they send O'Brien and Dax.
Good choice.
O'Brien,
or not O'Brien.
They send Julian and Dax.
Yeah, they send Julian and Dax.
In my mind, they're always intertwined.
Yeah.
Now, what I don't get is why they didn't all beam down, because usually that's the thing.
Yeah, I don't like. Why didn't Kira beam down?
She's just like, there might be lepers.
If anybody's good in a fight, it's going to be Kira.
But she's like, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah.
You got this.
A space attack.
Somebody's got to watch the spaceship, so I'm going to hang out up here.
I gotta finish reading the second volume of the 50-year Star Trek story.
Dude, it's good.
About waves and waves of cum.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's a really good book. I implore you to read it. If you're a fan of Star Trek, read this book. It's both of them. They're great. Like they're
or
really
if you're a fan of Waves of Cum.
waves and waves have come, exploding, Jenny, exploding out of Gene Roddenberry.
Sorry, I got it mixed up.
Regular listeners will know that I've interrupted several of our previous episodes to discuss something that I'd read that week from one of the two volumes, and I'm only 6 hours away from the end.
That's cool. I am. I got this book a couple days ago. I'm on page 228. I just can't stop reading it. It's so good.
That's some commitment right there.
It's great. I mean, it's a wonderful book. I really enjoy it. But
I
yes,
was surprised at how fast you went through the first one.
I couldn't put it down. It was just, and it's a really easy read because it's kind of broken up just in like snippets of like interviews. So it's not like you're reading like prose that you really have to digest and kind of.
And you can put down though. That's the thing is you can go through some of these and you can. It's like, okay, here's a good stopping point.
Yeah.
And the thing is though, it's killing me, and what I think has slowed me down the most is listening to the audiobook version. They do they have different people to do the different voices. So, and one thing I did notice is that they have like the guy who does English Dave on GTA Online. He does the voice for any of the English characters or actors.
Okay. All right.
And so they have like different people, but they consistently have the same person do the voice for the actor or the producer or whatever, right? So the guy who does Ronald D. Moore's lines always does Ronald D. Moore's lines. The person who does Patrick Stewart always does Patrick Stewart. So they have this, that consistency going on. But they have multiple people. They have multiple characters by the same person.
Like a cartoon.
Yeah. So the guy who does Ronald D. Moore might also be doing Gene Roddenberry's voice.
Okay.
And they try to change it up a little bit. Sometimes it gets a little confusing. And then the other thing is the person reading his character's lines seems like they know how to pronounce the name and the stuff about, like they did research on their character.
But that's it.
But nobody else's character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right? So they pronounce all the names wrong. Unless it's a straightforward name. Like when they start getting to some of the alien species and some of the alien names, unless it's like Worf and that's easy. They're just, and then like Jolene Blaylock from Enterprise.
Yes.
The way they pronounce her name, there's like 3 different versions of how to pronounce her name on the.
T-Paul.
Well, no, I'm saying Blaylock. Blaylock.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Blaylock, Blaylock, and Balak.
Hot moves.
Like that. And it's just like, yeah. This season 7 of 9 was played by Jolene Blaylock.
So they get to this planet and they're doing their thing.
Nobody really seems too impressed by seeing them there either.
Yeah,
they just beam down.
Well, there's the one guy that's pointing. He's doing as they walk into town, he's just walking past them pointing. It's like, yes, we see the people in clean clothes. Thank you, George. Thank you for pointing out the people in clean. And then he goes over to like some other festering person and sits down next to him while he still points.
And
that's not like, look. He's just like, point.
we're about 10 minutes in, and still no McLeods.
Nope.
No Kurgan.
It's bullshit. Like,
no Ramirez.
They don't even have a Scottish accent.
yeah, I mean, like, how do you not put someone from the Highlander in this episode?
It's from a competing network, and this was just basically their way of going, hey, we can use the word too.
No, you can't. You can't, because when I saw the title, as soon as I saw it, I read it, I was like, this is a Highlander episode, because that's how my brain works.
And then Queen started playing in your head.
Yeah. Who wants to live forever?
Apparently nobody in this episode.
Here we are, born to be kings. We're the princes of the universe.
For a group of people that are all going to die at a certain point, they're really kind of bumming me out. Like, they're just a bunch of sad sacks of shit. Like, I understand your society is just kind of cursed with this blight, but I mean, you can clean up a little bit, right? Like, you don't have to live in constant and filth.
Well, the guy's like, yeah, I took a hot bath for the first time and slept in a bed, and I got up this morning and put on clean clothes, and I'm like, really? Why'd you change out of them?
Yeah.
Sounds like a planet full of chronically depressed people.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of fucking bummers. And they're like, we're all going to die anyway. It's like, if you're going to die, at least fucking go out swing and have some fun.
This is, I mean, after 200 years of this, just wearing down the people, I can kind of see why they would develop the whole death worship thing.
Yeah, but I mean, clean up. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, clean up. There's just
bother. They're just
got company over.
If you're depressed, it's just like, yeah, I should.
Yeah, but isn't part of feeling good, like looking good, like kind of lying to yourself a little bit? I mean, come on.
You'll know, Bob, if you feel good, you look good.
You don't have to live in constant shit, man. Like, just get a broom, for God's sakes. Like, somebody.
Plant a tree and stop living in space, Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. It's so terrible. Like, it's just, like, I understand that you were dominated by the Dominion and, like, they came and they destroyed your cities and stuff, but, like, fucking get some fucking bubble gum and some bricks and put them shits together and try to build a wall or fix your fucking buildings. There's holes everywhere.
Build a wall.
Yeah, build a wall, man. Build a space wall. And you know what? The Dominion's going to pay for it.
That's right.
That's right. I don't know if you guys heard that. The Dominion's going to pay for the space wall.
That's right.
Yeah, but why bother?
And the Dominion took away their health care. That's why they're all dying.
Yeah. But some of the lucky few, they get taken to this guy who is going to treat them kindly.
Trevion.
Yeah, what's his name, Dennis?
Trevion. Yeah.
It was apparently somewhat of a star back in the 60s.
Michael's.
Yeah.
They shoot horses, don't they? Okay. He's French Canadian, which is kind of rad.
Yeah, is it though?
It's being French, which is cool, and Canadian, which is also cool.
As a person who lives in the Hampton Roads area, and we are beset by French Canadians every summer, not a big fan.
Are you a racist, Ben?
Oh yes,
Towards Canadians.
Oh, your swimming area, it has the bacteria. That is not good.
Now, are you talking about Canadians or are you talking about Canadians?
No, we're talking about he's French Canadian, Dennis. Like, he's from Quebec.
All right.
Have you seen?
Well, I mean, when Ben says he doesn't like Canadians, I didn't know if he was talking about
I said French Canadians,
Yeah.
Quebecois. I don't like the Quebecois.
That was one of my favorite jokes on The Critic. If you guys remember The Critic, how what Jay Sherman was always for, like, Quebec independence. Do you guys remember that?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that aspect of it.
That was one of his things. Like, he was really big into Quebec independence. I don't know why I remember. Vive la France, vive Quebec. I remember that line specifically for some odd reason.
You've got the DVD of that, don't you, Jenny?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank God. I thought that was lost.
Talk about a show that's completely ahead of its time.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no kidding. Missed that. I should go down there and watch it when we're done.
Yeah, you have it on DVD. It's not like All you gotta do is just put it in. But isn't the task of putting a DVD into a DVD player?
It's a fucking chore.
Yeah.
Like if it's not on Netflix, even though it's like it's on the top shelf of my DVDs, so I have to like reach way up there because I'm short. So I have to reach to get it, and then go down there, like 10 whole feet away.
It's almost like exercise.
No, the worst is this weekend. I wanted to watch a movie. The movie is on the shelf across the room from me. I see it on the shelf, but I can hit the rent for $3.99 on Amazon.
Yep.
Or I can walk across, but the AC's out and I'm sticky. And if I move, I'm not in front of the fan.
I don't even think you need the AC as an excuse. You just, it's the.
But it added. I would have done it anyway, but now I actually have a reason. It's like, okay, I'm not going to move. Oh shit, there's no AC. I'm definitely not going to.
Somebody come here and hit this rent button for me. I just can't I can't do it.
Thankfully, my son was visiting, and I'm like, help your father out. Push the rent now. And he's like, but Dad, you've got it on the shelf. I'm like,
don't sass me, boy.
Either push the button or go get your brother to come do it. So.
I may be lazy, but I'm still your dad. Don't make me get your brother. Don't make me get your brother in here to whip your ass.
I'll get your sister to come in here with her Taibo fighting and kick your ass, boy.
But yeah, so I guess like a lucky few get to die peacefully in this kind of hotel.
That's how they end up there, because that lady is like, please take me to Trevian, take me to the hospital. They're like, oh, okay. So they take her there, and they take the lady to the back room and kill her.
Yeah.
Just with a brick.
Yeah.
Oh, where did she go? Oh, we took her to a farm.
Yeah. Oh, she died. Don't worry.
She's at a farm.
Yeah,
she's at a farm.
She crossed the Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah.
She's in what you call Valhalla now.
And Julian, being a doctor with a real God complex, is like, how dare you kill her? Like, that's terrible. I can't believe it. And this guy,
his indignity is just like, this is totally, taking Kevorkian to task basically by Star Trek, which kind of surprised me that they would go that hard in on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they definitely went all in on this thing, but I guess.
Yeah. But they never pulled back from it. Like, oh, okay, I can understand why your culture is like this or whatever. They're just like,
because usually they try to present kind of both sides.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can understand why like they're in such pain. You want to relieve their pain. Yeah. They kind of like made a half-ass attempt at that, but then we're just like, yeah, but it's still wrong.
Yeah, I think it felt to me like this was more like the science will solve it, as opposed to like, I respect your culture.
Yeah.
Almost. You know what I'm saying? Like this was that episode, like, science is better than your way of life.
Yeah. At the end of the episode, both sides are supposed to learn something in Star Trek usually.
Yeah.
But this one is like, Julian's like, fuck you.
Yeah. Julian's like, nah, son.
What was that directive about not interfering with other cultures' ways of life?
Yeah, I thought about that too. Yeah, the directive of Amazon Prime, but like they had, Prime. It's Amazon Prime directive.
No, Rodimus Prime.
Rodimus, yeah, no, that's Optimus Prime. Is it Optimus Prime?
There's nothing to be optimistic about on this planet.
Yeah. This was Sadimus Prime.
Not to be confused with Sodomus Prime, which can get you arrested in 6 days.
And God will come down from heaven and burn your village. Yes.
I want to watch that Transformers.
Which, speaking of sodomy, apparently this started out as their AIDS episode.
I would love to do a Transformer, Sodomus Prime, and he just goes around fucking everybody like, stop it. Stop it.
There has to be Transformers porn parody.
Look, Sodomus
transformed into a double-sided dildo.
Yeah.
Transformers,
and people ask
vibrations inside.
People ask him to stop, and then somehow he ends up on the Supreme Court of Transformers.
Yeah. He's got the matrix of leadership.
Please stop. Please stop. Please. And these motherfuckers, like, they have the House and the Senate. They can nominate anybody. Why does this have to be this guy? Like, I just don't get it. Like, what's so special about Kavanaugh?
Wow, I almost missed us changing lanes there.
Is this
the political portion of the podcast?
It was
how many Supreme Court candidates do you know, Bob?
Oh, well, but what I'm saying is they're Congress and they should know lots more than me. I'm sure there's got to be somebody out there who's just as qualified as this guy, who's not like a fucking serial molester / penis shower.
Well, they're working off a list curated by the Heritage Foundation. So they have to ask them first who they want, and then that's who they vote for.
Let's see if there's any Catholic priests available. I'm sure they're good judges of character.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I don't know. But anywho, so Sodomus Prime shows up and then he starts sodomizing everybody, and they're like, "Look, man, why don't you go back to your fucking planet of robots?" And he's like,
That's the cure.
"I'm sorry. Yes, my robot dong is the cure."
He sodomized everybody on Cybertron, so now he's coming to Earth to sodomize everybody here. That's the next Transformers movie.
Dun, dun,
They've literally run out of plots by now.
Sodomus Prime.
That's actually
the last
already
one's about
been
King
the plot
Arthur.
of all the Transformers movies. You just probably missed the subtext.
Yeah.
I love you, Sodomus Prime.
We've already got racist Transformers. Why not have a sexually assaulting one?
Yeah. Yo, I love hip hop music.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking robot in blackface. Like, how were they able to do that? Like, I still don't understand. That's right, Sambo Prime.
Is that how it's pronounced?
It's Sambo, but whatever.
Okay, because that was, I heard someone pronounce
Trying to
it.
get underneath the radar, so they call it Sambo.
They were from
It's
overseas.
Brazilian.
And they were saying, no, in America they have these what you call and they called it it was sambo in parodies, and it's not popular. It's good here, not in America.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, have I been saying it wrong all my life? I mean, I'm from Alabama, but damn.
If anybody's gonna know, Ben.
I came to Virginia and learned words. Well, God damn. Like, I used a couple of words until my ex-wife was like, "That's racist." I'm like, really? I had no idea. I was offended as a Southerner. I'm like, I thought we invented most of the racist. I was a man from Alabama, could say his pornographies and not worry about such things as a lawsuit, and we could make fun of the minorities and the women.
Time was
I'd piss off a riverboat and it would land on a colored gentleman, and he'd say, "Thank you, Mr. Twain," and I'd say, "Ooh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. Is there a woman I can piss on?"
Time was. But yeah, so they're definitely going on.
No Google search results for Sodomus Prime, so I think we have an opportunity to.
Ooh, man, we really got to take advantage of this one. Sodomus Prime. There's got to be somewhere.
Are you saying we're not clever?
Ben, get on the internet and look this up.
We can't be the first people to come up with Sodomus Prime. So anywho, the Quickening dude, Brazier's bummed out, and then he gets all of his medical equipment. He's like, you know what? I'm fucking Julian Brazier. I'm gonna fix
Are you?
I'm gonna fix all this. And so then they have like a medical montage where people start giving him blood and samples and stuff. And it's doing pretty well, like he's doing good, and everything's
I wish
going.
there was some music underneath the montage.
Take it to the limit.
There's no easy way out.
That'd have been good, but there was clearly music montages and like
Julian runs up a mountain for some reason. These Russians in a limo are chasing him.
He starts yelling the name of the disease as he's running up the mountain.
Quickening!
Quickening!
Trevion!
But yeah, so and like my
It would
favorite
have been
part.
awesome if the end of this episode was a boxing match between Julian and Trevion.
That's in the Quickening 4.
If I could change, and you can change, maybe we all can get rid of this blight.
Ben's on the phone. He's calling his lawyers to make sure.
Getting clearance for Sodomus Prime.
Yes, Sodomus Prime. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, and my favorite part of the episode were just like the grumpy people. Like, you're not gonna fix this disease. Like, You're a real dick.
The guy who looks like a clone of Robert Englund for some reason. Like, he just looked like Freddy Krueger without all the burnt up stuff.
Without all the pomp and circumstance.
Yeah. Exactly. Without all the regalia of Freddy Krueger.
He's like au natural, you know, like.
Yeah, just all blighted up.
Yeah, he's all blighted up, and he's like, "You're a dick. Everybody hates you."
You should leave now.
You should leave. Let me see what you're doing. I'm interested now.
Yeah, get out of here.
I suppose you want my blood and semen, right?
Get out of here, Dewey. You don't want no part of this shit.
Turns all your bad feelings into good feelings.
Turns all your blight feelings into blight feelings.
Turns all your pain into waves and waves of cum.
It's a nightmare.
I think I want some of that.
Waves and waves of cum exploding out of your body.
New from Roddenberry.com. The Cum Wave 9000.
Drink some of that Roddenberry wine.
Waves and waves of cum.
I just realized halfway through all of this that there's the old thing when you're recording a podcast that people around you only hear half of the conversation.
Uh-huh.
And then there's the other thing that since my AC is off, I just remembered that my window's open, so I'm projecting my half of the conversation.
Waves and waves. You're gonna get a knock on your door. Hello, yes.
Hey, it's Chris Hansen. You're the guy from Oh shit.
I've heard you're interested in waves and waves of cum.
Yes.
No, you see,
My
Mrs.
name is
Ferguson,
Sodomus Prime.
Mrs. Ferguson, when I was making those racial comments, I was using an accent. And when you do an accent or a funny voice, that means it's not true and you don't really believe in that stuff. I would never piss.
Take him away.
I would never piss on a woman or children or even minorities.
Even my own children.
Ew.
But yeah, so
Weird.
they start. I guess like Julian's able to kind of work this out, and things are taking place, and people are getting better. But then all of a sudden, they all just start dying.
Oh shit. Well, hey, scan him with your fancy space medicine machine. Oh shit, that made it worse.
And then Trevion shows up with his pocket full of poison, ready to go to work.
And the whole episode, I will say this about it. The whole episode,
You get a suicide pill, and you get a suicide pill.
I thought the disease was coming from the other doctor. Like, I thought this disease was of his making. And, like, he enjoyed the power he had over these people.
That would have been the quickening. Like, he was gaining all their powers.
Yeah, that would have been cool, right?
Well, didn't they say that, he's lived with the disease the longest? It's like,
Yeah.
Somehow.
Somehow, some way, you're fine. And then, like, somebody, like, pushes on one of his lesions, and it just kind of smears, and they're like, wait a minute. Dude, you're not even sick.
What the fuck, guy?
Been telling everybody that to ease the pain, they should suck him off.
Well, does it work?
Works for him.
For me?
I feel better afterwards. I don't know.
I feel great.
Waves and waves and waves.
After about that third wave, though, it starts to hurt a little bit, so I have to take
He
a
was
break.
so mad at Julian for trying to cure it. He's like, God damn it, man.
You get so much dick sucking from this. Waves and waves and waves of cum.
On the next episode of 50 Shades of Trek.
Gene Roddenberry, total psychopath. I'm totally into it, though.
But he's such a visionary.
It makes me feel like, again, I'm reading this book and I'm loving every minute of it, but it makes me feel like if he heard this podcast, he'd be like, this is brilliant.
Like, Dork Trek is the Trek that he wanted to make, but the studio in the sense of pulled back from it.
There's
I'm
a
actually
broad...
a bit proud that like we got to the essence of what he was actually trying to go for with
Yes.
Star Trek.
Yes, because our definition of joy on this podcast is waves and waves of cum exploding from our fucking genitals. So it's much in Roddenberry's vision. Waves and waves. Like, what? The audacity to describe your cum as waves and waves. Like, that's a lot of cum, man. Think about
It
that.
happened one time, and he can't let it go.
Yeah, there's that one time with a Thai whore when I was in the Army Air Corps in World
She
War
milked
II.
my prostate.
She did this thing with a basket, a prostate massager, and 2 gallons of Dawn liquid soap. It took me to places
The cattle prod.
that mankind. Well, that's the finish right there, Dennis. You don't. Apparently, you've not been to Taiwan or Thailand.
That's where the Vulcan thing came in.
That's why we call that the Spocker. And
Spock.
she hit me with one of them just as the cattle prod hit, and you seen that Highlander thing, and you saw the Quickening, and you know what I'm talking about, because that's what it feels like. Except it's followed by the waves and waves of my orgasmic cum stream. Major always hates when I tell that story. Yep. So that's all I got now.
Awkward silence.
I think that's all anybody has.
Waves.
We're all spent.
We're all still imagining all of this.
Waves and waves and waves.
Once you finish, I would recommend you find a copy of this.
What's that?
This is the novelization of Star Trek: The Motion Picture, written by Mr. Gene Roddenberry.
Okay.
Which
Does it have the
expresses
lesbians and the?
his true vision? Oh yeah.
Is it really written by Gene Roddenberry the way the Star Wars novel was really written by George Lucas?
I think there is a lot more of Gene Roddenberry in this book than there was of George Lucas in his book.
And if
Like,
you
it was printed with his cum.
yes,
and
waves of it. Like Gene Simmons with the fucking Kiss comic. They put his blood in it. Yeah, and the ink is Gene Roddenberry's waves and waves and waves of cum. No, because if you read the book, Smackdown.
That is my bookmark. That's how I
If you read the book, Roddenberry rewrote everything. Like so, stuff would get to him, and he would just rewrite it.
Oh
and
my
then,
God,
and then
that
he
was
would-
so painful.
then he would just slap his name on it, and people were like, "What the fuck?"
I mean, he sent his what was it? Harv Bennett was overseas or something, or the producers were overseas,
yeah.
and they were supposed to like send a packet. I think I talked about this on a previous episode, but they were like, Gene, you're not going to write this. We want this other guy to write it. So the other guy writes up his draft. Gene's secretary intercepts it, takes the other guy's draft out, puts Gene's draft in, and sends it on.
Yeah,
They
it's
don't
amazing.
realize it. So the producers or whatever, they're reading this and they're like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, this is crap.
This is trash. And they call up the guy who was supposed to be writing it, and they're like, we expected so much from you, but God, this is bullshit. This is the kind of bullshit Roddenberry was writing. And then he's like, what are you talking about? And then they confront Roddenberry about it. And Susan Sackett, who I know he had to be banging the entire time.
Yeah, his
was like,
assistant.
well, Gene, you see, and it's just like, oh, shut the fuck up. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it was constantly him sabotaging the stuff to try to get his stuff in.
Yeah, it was great. It's a great read. I'm telling you, you guys, you have to read the book. Like, it's so awesome.
Both volumes.
Yeah, it's good, dude. It's really enjoyable.
Although they made a huge mistake on, like I said, they're talking about Enterprise in the section I'm listening to now.
Uh-huh.
And they were talking about the guy who plays Ensign Mayweather or
Okay.
Merriweather on, is it Mayweather or Merriweather? Anyway, the guy that was driving the ship on Enterprise.
Uh-huh.
Floyd Mayweather, yeah.
And Floyd
Mhm.
Mayweather, Ensign Mayweather. And they say that he's, starting out as Ensign Mayweather, he was soon promoted to Mako Sergeant. And I was like, wait, what? There's a Mirror Universe episode where he's a Mako Sergeant, but you don't get promoted to Sergeant from Ensign.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
Mako, was he like painting cars or something?
Yeah, the fourth season, that's when they opened the chop shop.
Better get Mako.
Better get it.
And for $29.99, they would repaint your starship.
That's a really good deal because starships
That
are
is.
really big.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Now with the blade of armor coating.
yeah. So they all die, and then I guess he was supposed to sit out there for like 12 days or whatever. And the 12 days comes and goes, and Julian still hasn't solved the problem. Again, even Julian mentions it. Like, it's a little egomaniacal to think that, like, this disease has been around for like 300 years and he's just going to fix it in like fucking 12 days. But he sends everybody back to Deep Space Nine, and he's like, I'm just going to stay here and fix it.
They don't even fight him over it. They're like,
They're like, all right, later.
Oh,
See ya.
thank God we're rid of him. I mean, we're going to miss Julian.
He's such a good dude.
we make him
the
walk
ship
down the promenade
faster.
without getting accosted by him.
Oh, Julian, you're really sad. Warp 9! Go, 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 go.
Yeah, the only person that's sad about it is Garrick, because he has to start grooming some other Starfleet junior officer.
Mhm.
How fast can this thing go? Make it go faster. So, yes, they leave him there, and Julian kind of does some research and some science and some blood spinning and some other stuff. And
Lady's getting sicker, and
yeah,
she just wants to live as long enough so that she can see her baby be born.
yes, because she's pregnant, because that's the person who believes in Julian the most is this pregnant lady. And I'm sure Julian's just doing all this to fuck her.
Mhm.
Like, I'm pretty positive because he doesn't want to catch this weird disease. He's like, I got to cure this bitch so I can fuck her because I'm not sure if it's an STD or not. Come on. I wasn't the only one thinking that.
Nope.
I got to cure her before she delivers the baby, because if you bang a pregnant chick, they can't get more pregnant. And I will give her.
Why are you bringing the latex replicator down there? Mind your own business.
Because I need gloves, okay? I need gloves.
You've seen the plane. It's not sanitary.
One-finger gloves.
Lots of gloves. One finger gloves. Maybe condoms would sell better if they were called one-fingered gloves.
Yeah.
One-finger glove. What finger does this go?
How thick does the latex have to be though before you fuck this lady with the weird lesions
That's
and
why he's doing all this testing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Julian is trying to figure out how thick the latex has to be.
He wants the thinnest possible latex layer
Yeah,
he can get.
it's a real catch-22 here.
So I want to feel something.
Because he wants to have waves and waves of cum come out of his penis.
Yeah.
But then he doesn't want to die from this terrible sexually transmitted disease. So he's kind of like, "Ugh, never banged a pregnant chick."
That's the whole Larry David.
Waves and waves of cum.
Start weighing the positives and negatives here.
Yeah, I mean that's what life is, though. It's a series of calculated risks.
Tasting that.
You gotta
dragon
take
wave
some
waves to
risks.
come.
And Julian is all about calculated risks, especially when it comes to getting his nut on. But so he goes through the whole rigmarole, and somehow, some way, he's
He
given
can't
this
figure
lady.
out why these antigens keep disappearing in her body.
Yes.
I put him right there. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I just, I don't understand.
It's fun to me, though, how Julian doesn't understand how, like, pregnancy works. Because, like...
Because he doesn't understand women at all, I think.
Yeah. He would have to understand that women react differently medically than men do, but he's so conceited. He's like the stereotypical 1950s man, where it's like, well, I don't know if this medicine will work on you. You don't have a penis.
I mean, the clue should have been, hey, these kids, everybody is born with this disease. So you think you'd want to study, oh, well, now I can analyze, like, what stage of development they actually contract it. And, the fetus contracts it. So he should have been scanning the kid to see.
Didn't even think about it.
No, dummy.
Well, I might accidentally hurt the baby.
And
Totally fine. Because apparently, according to Star Trek, euthanasia bad. Abortion, yeah, we're okay.
I'm pumping all this medicine into this kid, and I have no idea what's happening. Where is this medicine going? This lady, nothing's working.
The disease must be processing it out of her system. I need to start tasting her piss to see if the medicine is coming out in her piss. That's the only way we can be sure.
Quickly.
It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
It's for science.
I need urine samples. Yes.
I need to save this woman
I need
by having
somebody
her
who-
shit on me.
I need somebody who has taken the antidote to piss in a cup and somebody who has not taken the antidote to piss in the cup. Then, without me knowing it, you put those cups and you mark them A and B, and we're going to go the
old Pepsi challenge.
The pissy cola challenge, and I will taste which one is antidoted and which one is not, and then I will decide she lives or she lives.
And then what I should do too, I think, is pour all this piss on myself, because I think that's a real way to figure out.
So, does somebody have my iPod? With my R. Kelly track, that would
drip. I'm gonna pee. I gotta spill all this pee on me. And you know what? I probably should be masturbating too while all this is happening. Just
for science.
By the way, is your window still open, Ben?
Science.
I've already had a neighbor text me. Is everything okay at your house? Yes.
I'll be up in 5 minutes.
Shut up, or I'll beat you too.
Hey, I'll be there in a minute.
It's not Thursday. My daughter's here. Stay away.
So then we figure it all out. Bada boom, bada bing. The kid comes out and doesn't have the disease. So Julian was able to cure the disease in the offspring, not in the actual.
Yeah, he made a vaccine.
He made a vaccine. And then a bunch of people were like, I don't know about that vaccine. It causes autism. And he's like, you know what? You're right. And then he just leaves. And that's the end of the episode.
You just get that moment where Julian is just like, you're right.
You know what? Fuck you guys.
Blow up this goddamn planet.
Maybe the Dominion was onto something here.
Yeah, they reprogrammed the beacon, so instead of saying send help, it starts broadcasting the Dominion's a bunch of pussies. You can't. The Jim Hadar can't do shit.
F you, Dominion. And then that's the episode. Then Julian goes back to Deep Space Nine, and he's still trying to work hard and figure it out.
Yeah.
And at this point, I was like, whatever happened to that Quark storyline that they started at the very beginning?
Yeah, I mean, the end of it is like when he grabs the little rod from O'Brien to start cleaning out all the viruses he put in there.
Yeah.
It was like the most useless, shortest B story
But
I've
I will
ever
say,
seen.
there's no B story. But I will say, for all the useless bullshit they usually put in these episodes, I did like this one.
I did too.
Good.
I wanted to see more of that.
I agree. I thought it was super cute and funny. Like it
Worf
was
chasing him around the promenade with his mug in his hand.
The Benny Hill music playing.
I really enjoyed all the fucking spamware.
His batleth, whenever he tips his batleth, it plays a song. Come to Quarks. Quarks is fun.
Look, you Quark! And then that's the episode.
That would be a TNG episode where the virus takes over all the ship's computers.
Oh, yeah.
That song is just playing nonstop and people are being driven insane by it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then we hear about the stuff going on the Quickening planet.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, Julian and the team, there was a sickness that he had to cure it over.
Meanwhile, in the more interesting episode.
So, James, what did you think of the episode, buddy?
It was a good episode. It was what it was. Could have been better if Adrian Paul was there, but I would say it was probably a 7. I'd give it a 7. It was entertaining.
Yeah. That was a very non-committal 7.
I didn't really put that much thought into it, to be honest.
I'm cool with that. I like how you're not a lot of thought is like a 7. Like that's your 7. Yeah, 7.
It was only waves of cum. Not
Yeah,
waves.
so it's yes. I think that's how we're gonna start doing the episode.
This episode's
waves and
track was by far better than the episode we were talking about.
Well, that happens from time to time. But I don't know. I liked the episode. I thought it was cool. Like I enjoyed the character study of Julian. Like he's kind of never gonna quit trying to get his fuck on. And, like no matter what problem arouses him.
Mm-hmm. That is his driving motivation for everything. Save the entire planet just so that he can get laid.
Look, if I save, he's gonna come back in like 28 years and be like, your mom died, yes, but I made sure that the disease was gone. Now suck me off, beautiful disease-free ladies and gentlemen, I guess, whatever. I'm going to give this episode a 6.5. I enjoyed it.
I agree with you. It was enjoyable. I had a lot of problems with like little things in the plot that just kind of didn't make sense. Like, it just doesn't seem like the society would have been able to continue for 200 years if they're dying that quickly. You know, like if they're unable to even have kids, like how are they continuing?
Yeah.
There's a lot of little things like that that just didn't make sense. But at the same time, like it was an enjoyable episode, so I'm gonna give it a 6.
Yeah, because like if you must really enjoy fucking, if procreation is going to lead to the further kind of development of your downfall,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like this disease could have ended immediately. Like, oh yeah, everybody gets it, so well, let's just stop procreating.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and how are people even living to the point that they can have kids? You know, if it hits them at a certain point, like he even said that it
differently. So
yeah, and you know, to be honest, like I expected that guy. What was his name? Whatever.
Trevion?
Yeah, I expected him to have been doing something like he was working with the Dominion or something, and like when he was supposedly helping them, he was actually like making it worse, because it seemed like every time he would come in, the lady was just getting sicker and sicker. And he's up to something.
I agree.
And he wasn't.
I agree.
Are you dying? Do you want my death medicine?
I don't want to say kind of shockingly surprised that he wasn't the catalyst, but when it didn't turn out that way, I was like, huh. It was almost like I was disappointed that it wasn't so kind of obvious.
See,
right.
The thing that got me with Trevion is when he gave Julian the warning. It's like, you know, people who've gotten our hopes up in the past have suffered the consequences, and it's way worse than the quickening. So I thought after that first wave of patients died and he went back and they were like, hey, the witch doctor's back. Let's string him up. And then you'd have that last 15 minutes of the episode with Julian having to like run and hide until he came.
Even at this point in their society, they like have no motivation to do anything, even to murder somebody for giving them false hope.
They just don't care.
Yeah, it's like, it's that fuck face. All right, whatever.
Hey, nice cure, dick face. I'll show you. I'm gonna die. How's that for comeuppance?
In your face, Earthman.
Hey, Federation, I don't got no hope.
I showed you. I'm dead. Dennis, what do you think?
So I think it's like probably a 7 for me. I enjoyed it a lot. One thing I really enjoyed about it, surprisingly, was the lady, Korea. Like the actress, she was really good at acting like she didn't understand what they're talking about. Whenever they said like the little idioms or whatever, like, you know, the doctor will see you, just have a seat and wait. And she's like, what? You know, like her dumb face look was really good, I thought.
It's not like the regular
she does
dumb
it a lot in the episode. Like whenever Julian says something and she didn't understand, she's like, what?
Are you trying to...
It seemed like she really didn't understand English.
Do you want me to take my shirt off?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like annoying, like the prophets, like Jenny points out in.
Oh God, just the worst.
Yeah. What is time? What is what is door?
You exist here and there.
What is there? What is wormhole? What is
she was very not annoying in the way that she was dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
she was dumb in a not painful way.
Yeah. Ben, what do you think, buddy?
I think I'm going to round it out with a 7. Enjoyed the episode. You know, it was good to see Julian fail, but then to see how he reacted to it was to just not give up. And like his dedication to medicine is, you know, it's like that is what he wanted to do, was come out here and practice frontier medicine. So he had his chance in this episode.
Yeah, I dug it, man. I thought it was fun.
I had to read ahead though, because I'm like, God, did he I don't recall this coming back up again. And I was wondering, did he just like spend the rest of the series like working on this in his spare time or something?
I hope so.
Well, in a later episode, there's like a medical conference on Romulus, and there's a Federation Romulan conference that's being held. And when he gives a speech about the disease, apparently the Romulans are like, hey, could you replicate that virus and possibly introduce it into a society as kind of like a biogenic weapon?
No.
No, I'm looking for a cure. Well, yeah, but if you gave us some samples,
Theoretically.
maybe we could help you with it, but we'd need some test cases. Is that crossing a line?
If this was a Twilight Zone episode, then at the end it would be like, 15, 20 years later, an old gray Julian has finally found the cure and he goes back to the planet and everybody's died.
There's just a bunch of baby corpses
We finally
around.
found the cure.
A bunch of baby corpses.
Yeah, they didn't have the disease, but all the adults died, so there was literally nobody to take care of them. I don't know if you've met humanoid babies. They're useless.
Planet baby corpses.
What if they got there and the planet was just dominated by babies? Like they're just crawling around. Oh, God. Like they always were in a perpetual state of infancy. But they were this crazy warlike society.
Well, no, we had, there was a TNG, a original series episode like that called Miri.
Yeah, but those were kids.
Yeah, those weren't babies.
Yeah, those weren't. I'm talking like infants, like babies crawling,
toddlers.
like kind of like Look Who's Talking.
That'd be the cutest freaking planet ever.
It's like Lord of the Flies toddler edition.
Look Who's Talking planet.
Yeah. See, I mean, that's literally one of the reasons. I didn't realize how much that creeped me out.
All right, I gotta write this down.
But I had to stop.
Who's Talking planet?
I had to stop.
Best bit of this.
Hey, when this shows up on Discovery, we'll know where it came from. But
baby.
Things invented on Dork Trek tonight. Sodomus Prime.
Yeah.
Look Who's Talking.
look, I'm sorry, but when they bring Sodomus Prime onto Discovery, that's where you're just like, oh, for fuck's sake, you're not even trying to hide it now. But no, I had to stop watching The Walking Dead because a couple of times when they were scavenging for supplies or something, they'd go to like a child care center. Like when one of the characters was pregnant, they went to like a child care center to get like baby supplies and shit. And I was terrified that they were going to get attacked by zombie babies. And for some reason, zombie babies just terrifies the ever living.
It'd be like in Barbarella when the little dolls are trying to bite her.
I think I've seen Barbarella a couple of times.
That movie's hot.
I have no recollection of what you're talking about, Dennis. That's
Really?
how terrified of
Dolls,
this I
the dolls with the sharp teeth.
am. That deadly babies terrify me enough that my brain has just blacked that out. I remember the space angels. I remember boobs and that, there was a gunfight of some kind. Yeah, the Orgasmatron I think was in Woody Allen's movie, so that's not. I'm maybe mixing up some genres here, but yeah, it's just but zombie babies. So if this episode had him come back in 15 years, and you got zombie babies, make your nightmares come true.
Beat me to it. Beat me to it. That was good. Well done. Well done.
Nanny is just some severed legs.
Yeah,
that never moves.
Trevion, we have a visitor. Those are just legs.
Yeah,
I love it. So yeah, Look Who's Talking planet. Totally into it.
all the babies are telepathic and can communicate through internal monologue.
Yes. Same thing with the dogs too.
Now, do they all sound like Bruce Willis and Rosie O'Donnell? Or
No, it was Joan Rivers was the other one, wasn't it?
I
I
thought
think it was Rosie O'Donnell.
Was
Rosie
it?
O'Donnell was
I think
the wasn't it, or was it Roseanne?
And I hope not.
Yeah, I think you're right. I somehow like
Roseanne.
just combined the two.
Yeah, in my head, I'm still in shock that apparently it's the fucking 80s again, and so I'm just like,
I thought it was Joan Rivers.
nope, because it would make sense with can we talk? But I don't think.
And,
Yeah, it says Joan Rivers was the voice of Julie, uncredited.
That had to be a different baby.
Uncredited.
I'm thinking. Look who's talking too.
yeah, look who's talking to was Roseanne.
I think you're talking the uncredited was in the first at the end of it when she's pregnant And you
Yeah.
hear the baby. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I'm singing the second movie.
Oh, not okay. All right.
The baby talking through the entire movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
They made 3 of these things.
Yeah, well, don't worry, it'll come back because this week I'm watching Hawaii Five-0, Magnum P.I., and Murphy Brown, and all of them are all new fucking episodes.
Yeah.
Because that's the world I live in.
But I heard that Magnum PI one was awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that a couple times. Yeah.
I was impressed by Hawaii Five-0.
So
if this is where we're going with remakes, I'm good.
What if on Look Who's Talking Planet, Kirstie Alley is replaced by Savick, right? That'd be cool. Like Savick. Yeah, Savick shows up and it's Kirstie Alley. That'd be cool, right? And then
actually, Bob, her name is Kirstie Alley.
Okay. Okay. I thought you were going to get me on
the
pronunciation of the Vulcan.
And it's Lieutenant Savick.
And then she tries to raise the entire planet of babies.
But then she eats them and has to go to Jenny Craig.
She eats them.
Because much like not Suzanne Summers, Archie Bunker.
Archie!
Joke is gone.
So, well, there you go, everybody. There's the episode of Dork Trek. James, thanks for coming on, buddy. Sorry we didn't get to do all the Highlander, but do you have any Highlander jokes you want to get out there now while we're...
No, now that I'm on the spot. The episode would have been twice as long if this had gone the way that I was hoping it would.
You were pushing. I will give you credit, though. You were going for it. Like, you were taking...
Well, the last time I was on, I just sat there and nodded and smiled during all of the Law and Order talk. I was like, yes, a tangent I can get behind.
You got to watch more Law and Order, dude. Police procedurals is where it's at.
No.
Speaking of Mr. Castle, Mr. Firefly, Mr. What's his name there? Sexy McTight Pants.
Isn't he doing like a TJ Hooker style show?
TJ Hooker. I thought Castle was his TJ Hooker, but no, he said, let me take it up a notch. I want to be in the TJ Hooker uniform and do my version of TJ.
He's supposed to be a rookie.
Right? He's a rookie. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's old. He's an old man.
That's the joke.
Is it really a joke, though, or is it
he's
just
45?
It's like that baseball movie, The Rookie.
Yeah.
No, because that was
Rookie
actually
of the Year.
Yeah, Rookie of the Year was the Cubs going to the World Series.
One called The Rookie, where this guy pitches for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
That's a true story.
Yeah, it's a true story. He's like 38 years old or something like that.
Nobody has ever accomplished anything after the age of 40.
That's true.
I hope not, because I'm 40 now and I'm trying to do things.
I got like 2 months
That takes
left.
a lot of pressure for me.
Yeah.
It boggles my, because I've always been old. I mean, that's just the running thing. But I just
born old.
It's I think I said this when you guys were over and re-recorded the City on the Edge of Forever. It's like you guys can't be 40 because when we started doing the show, I was 40 and you guys are all these kids.
Nope, we're all old now, Ben.
Yeah.
Goddamn millennials are catching up to
I know.
Hey, thanks for ruining Applebee's, by the way. I fucking hated that place.
Yeah, I was really happy about that. If you want to ruin more terrible chain restaurants, have at it.
I would recommend you ruin Ruby Tuesdays next.
Yeah, we can send you a list if you'd like. Olive Garden is just salty. Like it's just too much salt. It's entirely too much salt.
No, that's the thing is they don't salt their noodles.
Yeah, but they salt everything else, so you don't have
to make up for it. But yeah, the salt would corrode the pots faster, and so they got a better warranty deal if they stopped salting their noodles.
Huh. I'm gonna salt your noodles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my.
Waves and waves of salt.
It's marinara. You should probably see a doctor about that.
Waves and waves of salt. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. Dork Trick will be back next week. Toodaloo.
Bye.
Waves and waves of cum.